What's up guys, back with another video. Today we're friggin' hitting legs. Legs. Get hyped. I'm feeling reasonably recovered. Carbs have been consumed. 2 packets of instant oats with half a banana, a little bit of honey. And we should be frickin' sweet. Pre-workout taken. Let's just get hyped. Let's get freaking hyped. Now, I haven't decided if I will be squatting today. You know, I might be, but I'll see how I feel when I get warmed up. Because obviously, it is ideal to squat. It's a great movement, but at least at this point in the diet, strength is on the down, so it's a bit variable, right? Sometimes I can get more quad stimulus for the amount of energy I'm putting in doing a belt squat or something else, but I would like to freaking squat today. So we'll just see how it goes. We will just freaking see how it goes. I mean, your leg training's pretty simple, right? I mean, with all your other muscle groups, there's a lot more variation and consensus about what you should be doing. But for legs, what I would say is always kind of work from your most basic movement to your most complex isolation movement. Just pretty obvious advice, right? If you're planning on doing squats, leg press, and then leg extension, you're going to start with your squats, right? Because it's going to be hitting the most of everything and it requires the most total energy. Then you can move to leg press. It's a bit less. You're targeting less glutes, less hamstrings, depending on the machine, obviously. And then finishing out with a leg extension where you're basically only targeting the quads. So you know how it freaking is. But we will do some hamstrings, and I'll probably make this one a little more hamstring focused because we didn't do any RDLs when we did back this week. So my hamstrings are feeling pretty fresh. So we'll probably spam some hamstring curls to start with, the seated ones. Then I might do a couple on the frickin' kneeling single hamstring. That gets a bit freaky if you're a bit fatigued. That can get you some crazy stretch on that thing. And then we'll get straight into quads. Now, I normally like to do hamstrings first, right? Because it sort of warms up your whole leg. If you have warm hamstrings, it's much easier to then hit quads with the intensity you want. Because, I mean, not only are most quad movements going to be using your hamstrings, but also your legs just feel generally warm. Whereas if you do quads first, by the time you get to hamstrings, you're so systemly fatigued that you can't effectively hit hamstrings as hard as you may like, because the effort required to train your hamstrings is a lot lower than quads for a variety of reasons, quads being a bigger muscle group, but also just the main movements that you do for quads, whether that's squats, leg press, any kind of leg machine, is a lot more taxing on your entire system. When you do a squat, you're hitting your glutes, your hamstrings, bit of calves, pretty much everything. And it's putting a lot of axial fatigue on your body, which is just force through your spine, basically. And that's going to be a lot more fatiguing than something like an RDL. Well, actually, an RDL is not the best example. or a hamstring curl, because that's kind of only targeting your hamstrings. So is what it frickin' is. Gym's looking pretty, not too bad today. See if we can get some funky camera angles. But tis what it is. I might throw in some forearms today if we have time. Just because realistically, throwing in a few sets of wrist curls isn't going to impact recovery almost at all, because they're such a small muscle group. And it honestly gives, what I like to do is put them in like a break between sets. So I could do hamstrings, squats, then throw in some wrist curls, and then do a leg press. And then my quads have had more time to rest without having to just sit there and do nothing, right? You get the general principle. Any freaking way. Doesn't really matter. We're just gonna get in there, do some legs, throw on some weight, see how it goes. See you in the gym. But I reckon we do 3 here, maybe 4, really burn out. And then we'll see.
Stop recording.
Yeah, 2 or 3 more.
When I'm doing it, and then you put that down and not do it. So what you want to move it just to move it up, lift it off, and then put it in like one of the controls, and then
That's enough of that. I changed my mind. We're doing one more here. That's definitely enough of that. All freaking right. We'll do 2 here, I think. See how it goes. Yeah, hold on there. Maybe a bit heavy. That was way too heavy. I'll drop it a bit and go again. Alright, since I absolutely fucked the last set, we're gonna do a bit lighter. And then I'm gonna do a drop set, which for squats is normally hell, so hopefully it should be pretty good. Yep. Yep. Let's do some wrist curls. Alright, since this is more casual forearm work now, for the next, I'll do 3 sets of reverse wrist curl, 3 sets of forward wrist curl. I'll record 1 of each, and I'll do the rest off camera, obviously. And then we'll jump back in on probably a leg press of some kind. Right, I'm gonna do 2 more of those. I've already done the rest of the reverse wrist curls, and then we'll do some leg press. Whew. All right, we're gonna do, I reckon 3 here. I'm gonna shoot for 3. And that should be good. And then we'll do some leg extensions to burn out, and then I think we'll be freaking done. If I get crushed under this weight, can you guys add like a few extra plates, please? Thanks. Alright, we'll do 1 more here. And then I reckon I'll do 2 sets, another leg extension. No more of that. Alright, 2 sets here. Really just burn out, so not super heavy. And legs are pretty freaking destroyed. Pretty freaking destroyed. One more. I'm about to drop set on the next one. Alright, last fucking set, gamers. Let's burn this shit out. And then we'll get a cheeky leg pump check. Whew. Let's get the flip out of here. Now, legs, pretty freaking pumped. Now, I haven't decided if I'm gonna show you guys the pump check, but let's just say I am quite happy. I am quite freaking happy with the progress. Maybe a few more weeks and we will be officially a little bit peeled. Still a long way to go, but more definition every day. That's kind of the thing with the cut, right? Because I've been cutting for yonks so long that I've had to do 3 separate cuts because I did a stupid bulk, whatever. 3 separate cuts because you need a little bit of a break to reset some diet fatigue, you know, so you can keep dieting effectively. But I think today's day 30 of cut number 3 since I did the big ass bulk, and it is going freaking well. It gets to a point when you're cutting, right, where you'll basically be seeing tiny bit of progress, and then you wake up kind of semi-shredded and you look at yourself in the mirror and you're like, what, huh, right? And to me, I think I'm kind of getting to that stage a little bit, not fully, but you know, being lean's fun. The downside of dieting, obviously your strength, your energy, all that jazz. I feel like we talk about this every night. You know, squats were good, but definitely extra freaking fatiguing on the whole system. Anyway, the other thing is my camera's about to die. The mic is about to die. So if it cuts at any point through here, that's why. I forgot to charge it. My bad, guys. But we have freaking 800 calories left for tonight. I'm thinking I'm gonna brown some kangaroo mints with some mushrooms and onion and put some freaking potatoes in the air fryer, probably about 300 grams of kangaroo mints. That should be about 70-ish grams of protein, 6 grams of fat, 5 or 6 or 7 grams of fat. And then, you know, anywhere between 200 and 400 grams of potatoes. And then, you know, we'll fill up the rest of the calories with obviously some vegetables, but if I have anything significant left over, probably some more snacky carbs, you know, a rice cake or 2, maybe even a bit of a low-fat ice cream, or even some, I don't know, sweetened Greek yogurt just before I go to bed. Even though obviously the Greek yogurt's not carbs, but whatever. What frickin' ever. It is good to have something sweet before you go to bed, I will admit. For me at least, as long as you're not having an isolated small amount of sweet things when you're dieting. For example, if you had, say, only like 100 calories left, and it's like this, like it's like 9:30. You go home and you have like that 100 calories of like, I don't know, some candy, right? That is going to, at least for me, and I think for a lot of the people I've talked to, that is not an ideal scenario to put yourself in, because you're now in the kitchen at night, you've just had a little bit of sugar, not enough to satisfy you, but enough to say, wow, I forgot how good this tastes. And now you're starving and your body's saying, get more of that. And then you go, well,
it can't hurt to have, like, I'll just have one rice cake. I'll just have 2 rice cakes. I'll just have a tiny bit of fat free. I'll just have some more Greek yogurt. You know, I'm going over my calories, but it's okay. It'll be fine. And then before you know it, you're like 3,000 calories into a cheat. And at that point, your mindset, at least for me, and for a lot of people I've talked to, the mindset is you're already starting to feel regret. But you want to push that regret and like the feeling terrible about what you've just done off for as long as possible. So your brain does this sneaky thing where it's like, well, if we don't want to feel these bad things. So we're going to push them to the side. And the only way to do that is to keep the cheat going. You don't feel regret or significant regret while you're doing the cheat because you're getting the whole dopamine rush and the feel good and the taste good, and you're kind of going into primal mode where you're just stuffing your face with everything. So your brain is like telling you, keep eating, don't worry about it. And then it gets to a point where maybe you sit down for a second to catch your breath because you've just been eating like all the cookies. And then that regret comes in and you realize you've eaten 10,000 calories. Maybe not 10,000. You've eaten like 5K calories. And you've put yourself, that's your deficit for like 3 weeks. Like, not an ideal spot to be in. So what would I recommend if you've got only that 100 calories left? Save it until right before you're going to bed. If you can. If you need something, have like a bag of instant oatmeal is what I'd suggest. Or just some oats in general. Like slow digesting carbs. Obviously put some low calorie sweetener on there. Tastes great. If you've been dieting, oats taste amazing. Even just plain oats taste amazing. Anything tastes amazing, right? Like even red onion. At this point in the cut, like I taste the sweetness in red onion, which sounds stupid, but you know how it is. But anyway, you want to put yourself in a scenario where you don't have the ability, or it's not an easy thing to do to just binge. So you've got to meal prep. You've got to have these foods around your house. Have a container of shredded chicken breast you did at the start of the week. Cook a lean beef roast at the start of the week. Have some Greek yogurt in the fridge. Have whatever. Have the low calorie noodles. Have your oats. Have rice. Have all these things ready to go. So when it gets to that time where you're like, I need to eat something immediately, instead of eating a cookie, which will turn into 6 cookies, maybe you have a small bowl of oatmeal. And also, it's important to get in your mindset that if you have an amount of calories to eat in a day, if you go over that by a little, you need to train yourself to say that's not an excuse to then go over by everything. Because it's very easy to say, well, I've gone over my 10 calories, so diet's ruined, may as well eat everything. In the grand scheme of things, even if you go over by like 200 calories, it's not a huge deal. It is a huge deal if you then use that as an excuse to eat 6K calories. Anyway, enough yapping from me. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. If you want to see any other types of videos, drop them in the comments. And I will see you guys in the next one.